Okay. So, in first lecture I raised some questions that challenges in 21st century education. One of the major challenges I have said that how to improve the student engagement. Many teachers are complaining that the students now the students are not engaged kind of thing. So, how to improve the student engagement? So, during the course if you find that we are defining a teaching learning process by which we can say that yes, teaching learning this teaching, if I followed this kind of teaching learning process pedagogy, the student engagement might be improved. So, before I go to the details of that, let us begin with that accreditation, that if you see today people are talking about that NBA accreditation, Washington Accord accreditation, because that has an angle to improve the quality of education, or you can say the effective teaching. So, what is accreditation is also an important issue today. Now, before I come to the accreditation, that can we measure that quality of education, or I can say can we measure the teaching quality? That means, suppose a institute A offering a program let us B, can I measure, or I can say whether I will attend the program B or not, can I judge based on some parameters? If you see that if we want to buy anything from the markets, let us if you want to buy a television, what you look for? You look for the data sheet of the television, that okay, some parameters. That means, we look for some parameters by which we judge the quality of the product. So, the parameter is defined by the manufacturer, and based on which we quantify, or we can say we judge the quality of the product. Same kind of things that I offer a program, can we say that can you write down something in such a some parameter based on which we can say this program is better than this program, or this program not better. Also, if we say that this program is suitable for me and this program is suitable for else. Today, if you see before let us the engineering education, when a student join in any program, he or she does not know what kind of skill he will develop during this program. What I am saying is that suppose I am admitted in a program called 4-year program or B Civil, let us the program name. Before I join B Civil, I do not know what kind of skill set or what kind of minimum skill set is required to declare myself as a B Civil engineer. You may say that okay, I will get a certificate for B Civil engineering, but certificate does not carry all, because certificate, yes, I have a certificate, but if I do not have specific skill or if I do not acquire that skill, then people will say what is the difference between you and me, because you are a civil engineer, but you do not have any skill. So, accreditation is a process that why it is required. First of all, that suppose I follow a program A and another person is follow a program B, or I said program A and let us the institute A and institute B, same program A and program A here also taught program A. How can I say the program A of institute A or program A of institute B is the same, or they are different only by this? So, I said that I want to find out whether this program or I want to measure the quality of this program A based on certain parameters, that is called attributes. So, if you see, there is a lot of boards is coming out. If you see the Washington Accords, NBA, all are accreditation board. So, accreditation board, what they are looking for? They are looking for that, can I say those are the minimum attribute, those are the attribute to measure the program, and though if institute A said that my program is NBA accredited, that means NBA is an organization which will guarantee that this program maintained the minimum quality or based on the certain parameter which is required, that said that this program is maintained the minimum quality. So, if I say accreditation program produce better graduate, definitely no. Accreditation does not guarantee the producing graduate are better. Accreditation guaranteed that the program meet the minimum criteria, or I can say that this program follow a teaching learning process and curricula which maintain the minimum criteria required or required to for this kind of program. So, 4-year B.Tech program, let us say the 4th-year B.Tech in civil. So, NBA only look for whether your curriculum and teaching learning process produce the graduate which meet the minimum criteria required for be civil engineer of a 4-year kind of program. Okay. So, those are called the accreditation. So, accreditation, there is several body for accreditation, several process. So, accreditation, what is the help, what is the value of accreditation? Accreditation tells prospective student that a program meets the minimum standard. So, before a student come to the program, he or she knows this program meet the minimum criteria required for declaring a B or graduate engineer or same other things, M.Tech engineer. So, that is the accreditation. So, financial institutes say those are the accreditation program, they guaranteed the minimum quality, so we support them. Similarly, student transfer, one of the major issues. Today, if you see, it is based on the reputation of the institute. Oh, IIT graduates, so okay, it can be transferred to all. If I say that IIT, today IIT also allowing that suppose I want to do a course in some other foreign institute and the credit can be transferred. So, this is based on the, you can say, the brand name of the institute, but can I say that yes, you will able to transfer the credit because the program A maintain the quality parameter this, and program A of institute B also maintain the same quality of the program with respect to certain parameters. So, you can transfer. So, there is no mismatch. Or think about like that a country A produce a graduate engineer, whether the country B will accept that they are the graduate engineer or not, that depends on the skill set. So, accreditation is said that those are the minimum parameters, those are the minimum quality or skill set required by the student if the student said that I am graduate from this program. So, accreditation program, accreditation body only see the whether the program follows that structure or not, but whether the learner acquire that knowledge or not, it is not there. So, then you have to evaluate, you have to follow a evaluation system which is validate, yes, all the learner acquire that knowledge. Okay. Now, what accreditation means? Let us start with the Washington Accords. Washington Accords said it is for the 4-year graduate program, 4-year program. It said the student should able to apply knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals and engineering specialization to conceptualization engineering model. So, one of the parameter is that if I say my program is follow the Washington records, so my graduate engineer must be able to apply knowledge of mathematics, science and engineering fundamental to conceptualize the engineering models. That means, they are capable to use their mathematical, science and engineering fundamental knowledge to conceptualize engineering model. It is not that my engineer is graduated with a 90% marks. So, this talk about skill, this is the one of the skill. What is the next skill? Design solution for complex engineering problem and design system, component or process that meet specified need with appropriate consideration for public health, safety, cultural, societal and environmental consideration. So, this attribute says, the attribute 3 says that design aspects of the graduate engineer. If I say my engineers are what follows the Washington record requirement, they should able to design solution for complex engineering problem. I cannot say they only know what is thermodynamics, what is the definition of entropy, not like that. It is said they should able to design solution. They should not able to, let us say electronics engineer say, I do not know sir how to design a push pull amplifier, I only know describe the push pull amplifier. Describe is important, but describe is a lower cognitive behavior that is not required for the B engineer should know more. That means, they should able to design solution for a complex engineering problem and or systems or a part of a component or a process that meet the specified need with appropriate, now domain the multidisciplinary section, appropriate consideration of public health, safety, cultural, societal and environmental consideration. They not only know the how to design this, but also they have to know how the public health, cultural and societal aspect can be incorporated during the design of complex engineering problem. Next one is that fourth parameter, investigation. Conduct investigation for complex problem including design of experiment, analysis and interpretation of data and synthesis of information to provide valid conclusion. If I say my electronics graduate engineer does not know how to latch a signal, they only do an experiment, they go to the lab, do not touch any machine, they only take the data and they see that previous year report and produce a lab report and submit to you. That does not meet that requirement of the Washington records. Washington record says that a graduate engineer must able to conduct investigation for a complex problem including design of experiment. So, they should know how to design the experiment, analyze and interpretation of data. This, if the data is collected, if they just copied from the previous year or previous year students and make a lab report, if you find many of the institutes has the lab report which may be created in the beginning of that engineering era and still it is continue, that kind of knowledge we do not require. They should able to analysis the data or analyze the data, and after analysis they should able to valid interpretation. What kind of interpretation is coming from the analysis? Then synthesis of information to provide valid conclusion. After analysis they should able to synthesize also and provide a valid conclusion. So, If I say that today my engineer only know how to operate, how to measure that DC volt between the two terminal. So, there is a lab setup is already made there, and they go there and taking a multimeter and touch the two lead and take a reading. That is not required. They should be able to design experiment, they should be able to collect the data, they should be able to analyze the data, they should be able to make a valid conclusion from the data. So, requirement for a graduate engineer is not that simple. Similarly, if I say fifth, modern tools and uses, fifth parameter is modern tools and uses. You may say my graduate engineer, so let us that graduate engineer of a civil does not know how to draw a engineering drawing using CAD/CAM software. Then should I call him or her is a civil engineer? So, this create, select and apply appropriate technique, resources and modern engineering tools including prediction, modeling to complex engineering activity with an understanding of the limitation. So, that means a engineer should know the modern tools also, how to use the modern tool to simulate something, and also he know what is the limitation of this tool, what he cannot do within this tool. So, not only the use of the modern tools, but also the you can say the limitation of that tool, which kind of problem he cannot solve using these tools. So, engineering tools, modern tools uses is also one of the major parameters for the engineering education. So, I cannot say a civil engineer does not know how to draw, how to use CAD/CAM software for the drawing. I cannot say that. It is required. So, modern tools and uses is an important parameters for measuring whether this program is Washington Records accredited or not. If my program has to be Washington accredited, then if it is electronics, then all the modern tools which is available in the electronics field, the student must know each of the tools and their limitation. Next one. So, up to 5, up to here 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 are the domain dependent parameters. Civil engineer is different from electronics engineer, different from electrical engineer, different from mechanical engineer, different from chemical engineer. There is certain attribute which is domain independent, like that individual and teamwork. That means, it is a domain independent attribute they should also learn. The function effectively as an individual and as a member or leader in a diverse team and in multidisciplinary setting. A graduate engineer must know how to work in a team, how to lead a team, how to work with a diverse people, because that is the need in the industry. When he employed in an industry, he has to deal with the diverse people. His teammate may be somebody come from that electronics engineering background, somebody is required from the chemical background. So, he has to work in a diverse field, he has to lead the team, he has to be an active member of the team. So, this kind of individual and teamwork, that skill also is one of the parameters for measuring the program. So, by offering a course, I can say, okay, students will be able to design something, they should be able to conduct experiment. Then and there also there is a domain independent parameter, individual teamwork also address. Another domain independent parameter, communication. Communicate effectively on a complex engineering activity with the engineering community and with the society at large, such as being able to comprehend and write effective report, design document, make effective presentation, give and receive clear instruction. It is not said that every engineer must talk as American English, every engineer must talk as a British English. It is not that requirement. It is requirement is that they should able to communicate his fellow colleague with effectively. He should able to write a technical report. He should able to give a clear instruction to his subordinate. So, this communication skill also has to be developed among the engineers. So, if I say I am a graduate engineer, so my domain dependent attributes are 1 to 5, those I have met, but I have not met the domain independent attributes, then this program is not accredited. So, while I am meeting the domain dependent attributes, I also meet the domain independent attributes. I will come, how do you do that? Then engineering and society, demonstrate understanding of the social, health, safety, legal and cultural issue and the consent responsibility relevant to the engineering practices. So, that is the one of the parameters. So, by course or by teaching learning process, that has to be developed. Next, ethics. Understand and commit to professional ethics and responsibility and norms of engineering practices. He should understand and commit to professional ethics. I am not saying he only developed the theory, he only know what is the constitution of India, not like that. He has to develop ethics, understand and commit to professional ethics. Ethics has to be practices also. So, how can I say that yes, ethics is one of the important parameters for measuring the quality of engineer. So, how do I teach the student so that their engineering ethics is built up? That is challenges. Next one requirement is environment and sustainability. Understand the impact of engineering solution in a social context and demonstrate knowledge of and need for sustainable development. If I say an engineer must know environment and sustainability parameters also. Next one, project management and finance. Demonstrate a knowledge and understand of management and business practices such as risks and challenge management and understand their limitation. So, as a graduate engineer, not only know the domain dependent knowledge, but also he has to demonstrate the domain independent knowledge also. Last parameter is lifelong learning, which is very important and essential parameters for today. I have to equip my students so that their self learning ability is enhanced. If I spoon feed the students many practices, the students will come in the class, I give a lectures from one corner to another corner, they note down the lectures, solve some problem in the blackboard, in the examination system I give the same problem, they solve it and get a marks. Am I improving their self learning ability? Am I improving any one of the skill which is mentioned in Washington Accords? No. So, spoon feeding the students is not improve the self learning ability. So, I have to think, how do I improve the self learning ability of the students? What kinds of teaching learning process I should follow so that their self learning ability is improved? So, if we say that 1 to 12 all the graduate attributes which is required for accreditation, some of them are domain dependent, they can be developed by offering a domain dependent course. Some of them are domain independent, they also can be developed by offering some course. But if you see, some parameters are there which cannot develop by offering the course. That means, not only the curriculum, by curriculum I cannot say I meet all the 12 attributes. By curriculum I can say out of 12, 8 may be met, but another 4 I can meet by the teaching learning process. Here the effective teaching is come. So, Washington Accords attributes, if I say that my program follow the Washington Accord attributes, then I have to design a curriculum which meet this requirement, as well as I have to design a teaching learning process which also scattered to this requirement. So, major challenge will come while I am teaching the domain dependent subject. I say that I taught AC machine, design of AC machine, or any subject called thermodynamics. Then I have to think, while I teaching thermodynamics, how can I teach the lifelong learning? How can I build the ethics of engineering? So, not only the domain dependent attributes I have to scatter, I have to scatter to domain independent attributes also. So, today teaching learning process demand that while I am teaching, not only cover the domain dependent part, but also cover the domain independent part. Now, think about today's practices. Suppose I taught a subject, let us call thermodynamics, and I prepare a PowerPoint presentation and come in the class and show the slide 1 to slide 10 and giving a 1 hour lecture without asking any question to the student. I give 1 hour lectures, just deliver the 1 hour lectures. There are two problems. One is that the student will come to my class because if I take the attendance, so to give their attendance, because of some limitation in administration background, they will come to my class. If it is a large classroom, most of the students will be do Facebook sitting in the back bench. Most of the students will switch off their mind, because they know whatever the information teacher is delivering from slide number 1 to slide number 60, all are available in the net. Earlier education system, those informations are not available. That is why I have to present in the class, take a class note. But today, whatever the lecture I will give, all information is available in the internet. Then I have to think what I am doing. Should my lecture, my course cater to any, these 12 attributes are there, any one of the domain independent attributes, or which are the domain dependent attributes? So, I have to think the teaching, what kind of teaching learning process I should use, so that I am scattered to domain dependent attributes, to the domain independent attributes, and improve the student engagement. That is called effective teaching. So, curriculum, how should I prepare my curriculum so that it cover that minimum requirement of the graduate attributes? See, suppose I taught a design of AC machine and none of my lecture is deal about the designing aspect of the machine. That means, none of the students is able to design a simple AC machine for a given specification. Then I am not covering the graduate attributes, which is required as per the Washington Accords. So, that means, what kind of teaching learning process, what kind of curriculum structure should I follow, so that I meet the graduate attributes requirement. Okay. Now, if you see NBA, same attributes are there: engineering knowledge, problem analysis, conduct investigation, modern tools and uses, engineering and society, environment and sustainability, ethics, individual and teamwork, communication, project management, lifelong learning. So, some of our domain dependent attributes, some of our domain independent attributes. But I have to ensure that my curriculum and the teaching learning process meet this NBA accreditation, NBA requirement. So, I can say accreditation board only specifies certain parameters by which I can measure the minimum quality of that program. Those parameters are defined by the accreditation board. But while I am designing the program, let us program for electronics, I have to see those are the open-ended parameters. So, if I say those are the 1 to 11 in case of NBA, 1 to 11 are the parameters NBA, 1 to 11 are the domain, some are domain dependent parameters, some are domain independent parameters I have kept in here. Now, once I design my program, that program outcome of the program must match with this, must fulfill this requirement. So, all the program outcome which I will write must meet the each and every attributes. I cannot say that this attribute I cannot meet, then my program is not accredited. So, by structure of the curriculum and teaching learning process must meet each and every attributes which is defined by the accreditation board. So, once I say this all 11 attributes for electronics engineering graduate, then I can say my program outcome should specific to the electronics. So, I can say program specific outcome PSO, and this is the program outcome. So, program outcome is defining by the accredited body. Those are the parameter you have to maintain if you say your program is accredited, and those parameter is specialized based on the your specialization or domain, then I can say program specific objective. So, none of the electronic modern tools and uses is a program outcome. So, electronics engineer only know the electronics field modern tools and their limitation. Civil engineer only know the civil modern tools and the tools modern tools used in civil engineering and their limitation. So, those are the difference between this PO and PSO, program specific objective. Okay. So, accreditation program does not produce better graduate. It is only said that my curriculum and my teaching learning process maintain the minimum criteria required for a graduate engineer, which is defined by the accreditation body. Okay. So, many institutes in India, mostly the NBA accreditation is important. Many colleges, many institutes are applying for NBA accreditation. So, NBA accreditation, NBA says some parameters. Those parameters must be fulfilled by your curriculum, designing of the curriculum and teaching learning process. Okay. So, this is the accreditation. So, next lecture I will show what is outcome based education and how it is important for this kind of accreditation, and also that how it is important for effective teaching which meet the 21st century education challenges. Okay. Thank you.